We are back online in, where are we? We left Bhutan, we're heading to Thailand, Myanmar. We are in Myanmar at the Mandalay International Airport after a few nights off. Finally got a chance to come back on the sim, and we are going to be uh, flying, as I mentioned, to Bangkok, Thailand tonight on another leg on our journey around the world. Tonight is going to be a little different because normally in cruise I like to talk about the places where we're going. We kind of learn about the history of the airport where we're heading, the city where we're heading. But tonight, there's really no way around it. I have to talk about Encanto. This movie has completely taken over my household. And honestly, I can't really complain about it because it's pretty freaking awesome. So I'm going to try something new. And when we're in cruise, I'm just going to like spend the cruise time talking about all the various nuances and details of this film that make it so fantastic. I'm just going to mention in the chat real quick that we're going to be talking about Encanto when we get up there. Because I know in the title it says, let's talk about Bruno. I don't want people to come here and think, oh, we're going to be talking about Bruno the whole time. No, we have work to do. We actually have to fly a plane. But once we're comfortably in cruise and we have some downtime, we'll definitely talk about Bruno. So just getting this... I should install a chat bot at some point, but not quite that sophisticated yet. Can I pin this? Pin, yes. And can I do this in Twitch as well? Let's see. I've never actually used the chat before. I've only ever responded to it verbally. All right. All right, cool. So anyway, yes, so we'll definitely get to Encanto once we're up in the air. But for now, we got to get this plane ready. Just to kind of give us a lay of the land, here we are at Mandalay International Airport. This is one of the procedurally generated airports, Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's not too impressive per se, but the weather here, little haze, some low-lying fluffy clouds, just absolutely beautiful. Some of those actually look like rain clouds, so we'll see if we can get some weather on the way out of here. We'll check our ATIS information and get that all together. But actually the star of the show tonight is this beautiful Bangkok Air livery. I was originally going to fly Thai Airways tonight, but then I came across this livery on flightsim.to, and it's awesome. This is a lot of fun. This will be a lot of fun to fly. We'll take some fun photos once we're in the air. But yeah, just take a really close look at this. Just so much fun. Little cool details like the scuba diver here. Really makes you want to travel to Thailand, honestly. Beautiful resorts there, per my understanding. And alright, so enough of this. Let's hop into the cockpit where we are cold and dark. Hello, Tugmaster. We'll get to you in a second. But for now, oh, look at this. Custom coffee cups. How fun. Even the caps. Geez, that must have been really expensive. Alright, anyway, sorry. Focus. Cold and dark. Let's do our initial cockpit preparation flows, starting with batteries and external power, because we have external power out there. Get some dome lights on, and power's on. Turn the crew supply on, ground control on, get the aiders aligning, do our fire tests. APU, engine 1, which is the left side, engine 2, which is the right side, cargo, all good, and we'll get our no smoking and emergency lights armed, and nav and logo lights on so folks know that we're here. And we'll set strobes to auto for now. Get some integrated lights going because those just really look pretty once they're illuminated. And that is good for the initial step for now. All the other knobs look like they're in a good position, and there's no white lights except for the expected fuel pumps because we're going to be refueling, and we'll keep seatbelt sign off for now, again because for safety reasons while we're refueling the plane we don't want people putting on their seatbelts. It just makes it harder to evacuate if they need to evacuate. So oh, on top of that, let's get the APU started, because we want to have the APU running in order to board folks on the plane, because that will allow the bleed air to flow through the pack system and start recycling the air. At least that's my understanding of how that works. So we'll continue the cockpit prep. We'll do the glare shield in a bit, but let's get these screens illuminated as the aiders are aligning, and here as well. And there we have the APU screen there. When that starts up, we'll turn on the APU bleed, and then we'll come over here real quick. We'll turn this flight director off and turn off these screens because we don't have a co-pilot today. We are flying totally solo. Again, I'll come back here once we get the A's information and we brief our departure, because I'll be able to set the glare shield. But before I forget, I will just turn the integrated lights on and increase brightness there a little bit. Okay, going further down the panel, actually, let's check oil quantity. Looks good. Let's check cockpit oxygen is good, and hydraulics. We have hydraulic fluid levels all the way through. No problem. Back to the APU. APU is now available, so we'll go ahead and turn the APU bleed on, and let's get folks boarded. Weight and balance. Let's see, we've got 146 passengers tonight, and a little bit more than usual, probably because we're going to be carrying less fuel, but that's all good. So that is going along. All right, so rest of the cockpit preparation flows here. Radio set to Unicom because we are on VATSIM tonight, but there is no ATC coverage where we are at the moment. Oh, and I have completely forgotten to install the appropriate flight controls on my Honeycomb Bravo throttle. I am using the Honeycomb Bravo. I'm also using the custom Airbus controllers that they have released, and they are fantastic. They have some really cool features that the stock Boeing ones that the throttle comes with does not have. So for example, the reverse thrust levers actually lock out, so you can't accidentally go into reverse thrust configuration without pulling back on the reverse thrust levers, which is a pretty cool feature. And the flaps controller also has a friction stop. So the real flaps controller, which actually let's take a look at now. But first let me just confirm that all works fine. The real flaps controller has this kind of like pull-up knob, so you lift up with your fingers and then pull it into position, and the Honeycomb knob comes with that feature as well and has like a friction lock. It doesn't have detents like the real lever does, but it's pretty close to the real thing, which is awesome. But anyway, going through our checks, thrust levers are on idle, engine masters are off, engine mode is set to normal. The spoilers are retracted and disarmed, flaps are retracted, rudder trim is 0, parking brake is set, cockpit door is currently open, and everything else looks as it should. Alright, so while we get folks boarded, let's go ahead and get the rest of our aircraft services doing their thing. So let's get catering and baggage. Got a little door open there, and there goes the cargo door. Now we should actually be able to see, if we go to the doors page, we'll see that those are both open. And let's see, yes, okay, so fly-by-wire has fixed this. When you activate the cargo door, it actually, in order for the cargo door to actually open, the yellow hydraulic system needs to be online, so that's being electrically powered right now to allow the cargo door to function. So that's reflected here, which is a really cool detail of the mod. Alright, so next up, let's actually talk about fuel. So let's load up our flight plan from SimBrief. make sure it looks right. We're going from Mandalay International Airport to Victor Tango Bravo Sierra, which is in Bangkok. And, ooh, this looks new. What does icons mean? Oh, sick! So you can actually have it in the METAR format, and you know what, just for my own practice, I am going to keep it in METAR. That is such a cool new feature. Thank you, Fly-by-Wire. Was not expecting that. Okay. Looking at our operating flight plan, let's just make sure all the header information is correct, and then we'll look at the fuel. So we're going from Mandalay to Bangkok. There's a half-hour time difference. And our alternate today is Victor Tango Bravo Uniform. Flight number is Bangkok Air 9084. Cost index is 15. Cruise flight level is 250, so that's pretty low. That's interesting. I'm curious why SimBrief opted for that, unless it's just, yeah, interesting. We'll have to look at the weather information down below. Maybe there's a reason. Trip Apollo is pretty high, and trip wind, we have a tailwind of 3 knots, so we're not going to get really much of a boost in terms of tailwind. Shear rate is pretty low, so not expecting much turbulence. Looking at the departure here, flying the Dogip 1 November departure, and oh, there's a step climb. Oh, interesting. We'll have to figure out why that might be, but it looks like we'll end up at flight level 390, just not initially. Okay, cool. So looking at fuel, we have little fuel for the alternate, because the alternate is actually not that far away from Bangkok. But that generally looks good. Let's check the weather real quick to see if there's any reason to take additional fuel with us. Departure airport from Mandalay, so no wind, decent visibility, broken clouds, few clouds. CB, don't know what CB stands for. We'll look that up later. But several cloud layers, pretty warm, but generally, yeah, no significant weather, though I do want to check that CB to see what that stands for, just to make sure. It might be like a certain cloud type that might be dangerous to fly through, but you know, oh, here it is. Just looking for my cell phone. Good old Google. Let's see, CB on the METAR. Oh, cumulonimbus. And that, I think, is a cloud that is relatively dangerous. I think that might be thunderstorm clouds, but let's see. Yeah. Dense, towering vertical cloud forming from water vapor carried by powerful upward air currents. If observed during a storm, these clouds may be referred to as thunderheads. Alright, there's something to be conscious of. I'm actually not familiar with the capabilities of the A320 in terms of flying through cumulonimbus. Okay, so let's see. So generally it looks like we should avoid it. But we'll play it by ear. We'll make an in-flight decision. I don't think it's going to knock us out of the air, but it just might make for a bumpy ride. So we'll look out for those cumulonimbus clouds. Look at the destination airport, also light winds, less visibility, broken clouds, VO 2000, no significant weather. Just looking ahead, yeah, it looks pretty good. So yeah, I think the recommended fuel should be fine, and that is a block fuel of 6157. 6157. Get that on. All right, so while we're here, let's go ahead and we'll record our ATIS information, and then we'll get up our charts, and then we'll program the box. So here we are at Victor Yankee Mike Delta, and we have got winds 270 at 3. Oh no, sorry, that is that is the date and time. So that's the 27th of the month at 30 Zulu. So sorry, winds are 0 at 0. We got QNH of 1012 and temperature 16 dew point 14. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and set our altimeter, our QNH to 1012. And now let's take a look at our charts. Pull up Navgraph. Get our airport information. I think we're currently at stand 3 here at the passenger terminal. And per the OFP, we will be departing runway 35. So we'll be departing to the north via the Dagip 1 November SID. So this is our departure plan. So a Dagip 1 November, pretty steep climb gradient until flight level 10,000. Okay. Is that our initial climb out? Let's see. Here we go. Dagip 1 November. So basically, yeah, so there is a speed restriction. Initial climb mass is 700, no less, or we have to be at 700 or above by the time we get to this waypoint. And then we'll do a pretty tight turn. That's probably why we have the speed restriction. And we have to make sure we're at 10,000 by the time we get to Sithu. And then 18,000 by the time we get to Dagip. And at Dagip, we'll stay at 18,000. We'll just stay at the minimum altitude just for the views, really. And then we'll clear ourselves to that next step climb. So speaking of, let's, well, that should be fine for briefing, actually. Let me get the approach for runway 35. You know, given there's no wind, in the case, I know, we'll do the runway 35 emergency procedure if we need to. So what I'd like to do is, as a proxy for an emergency procedure on takeoff, I like to follow the missed approach procedure for the runway that we're flying out of, because that will usually take us to a hold point where we'll be able to make a decision whether to continue or return to the airport. So in this case, in case of an emergency on takeoff, we would climb on course, flight level, radial 340 to Mike Delta November 8, turn left track to 250 to Mike Delta November 9, turn left track 160 to Mike Delta November 10, and hold. Climb to 3600. We'll just make a mental note, transition altitude 6,000 here. Okay, so we'll save that and we'll take a look here. Yeah, transition altitude 6,000 here as well. I just want to make sure that was consistent. Excellent. So that is all set. We'll we'll get the charts for our arrival when we're in the air as well. But let's check our progress on boarding. Almost done. So let's take a look at our flight plan more closely and get a sense for this step climb business. Yeah, so it looks like we want to get to flight level 250. It's an initial top of climb. And then when we get into Bangkok airspace, then it has us starting to climb up to 390 by Chiang Mai. And then top of descent sometime thereafter. Yeah, so we'll have to pay attention to these step climbs here. So pretty much, yeah, so at Lima Kilo, is when we take our first step climb. So I know we're going to be talking about Encanto a cruise, but this looks like I'm going to have to pay attention to the waypoints because there's going to be these step climbs. All right, no problem though. That'll be fun. There must be some air traffic control related reason maybe for those step climbs, but anyway, looks like we are fully boarded, so we are free to program the box fully. So let's first take a look at the data page. Make sure the IRSs are all nav. They are. Clear out those messages there. And make sure we have the right AirX cycle. We do, and this is the last day that this AirX cycle will be valid. Well, technically, it's tomorrow in Bangkok. So I wonder if this is just based on it can't be based on Zulu time, because the AirX cycle wasn't available in Navigraph. But in any case, we'll assume this is current. Right engines, that's fine. Head to init 1, do our init request. Make sure all looks correct. So Mandalay International to Victor Tango Bravo Sierra in Bangkok. Our alternate is Victor Tango Bravo Uniform. Bangkok Air 9084 triple pause. Let's just make sure that jives with our flight plan. It's pretty close, 53259. So 53259. And contact X 15 and flight level 250. That's the initial cruise, and then we'll step up from there. Alright, going to the flight plan, let's program in our departure. Runway 35 via the Dogip 1 November, because my memory is terrible. Let's double check that. The Dogip 1 November, yep. And insert, and make sure that jives Mike Delta November 11. There's an overfly, Mike Delta Sierra 13, Sithu Dogip, and there's a discontinuity because there's a repeated Dogip, so we'll go ahead and clear the discontinuity. We'll go ahead and clear the second Dogip. Oh, sorry, we created a discontinuity, and there we go. Let's just check our map here and make sure that all looks good. So there's Dogip Sithu. Yep, that looks fine. And let's check the rest of the flight plan. Yep, looks fine. And then we'll worry about the arrival when we get closer. Okie dokie. While we're up here, let's set this up. We want constraint, and let's get our initial climb out. Yeah, 10,000 feet. So let's get that reflected on the glare shield here. 10,000. Excellent. That's all set. Back to the box. Rad navs. I didn't see any VORs of note. Yep, so I don't think we won't need any rad navs there. We'll have to remember to program in that that restriction there once we get to performance page. 205 knots. Okay, and then to init 2. Zero fuel weight, we're reading 57.7. Let's check the flight plan, and that matches beautifully because we estimated the weight beautifully, because that always happens in real life. Yay! Block fuel, before we do that, you know, tailwind of 3, so let's get that in there. T3. Boom, and block is 6.1. Rounding down there. Wait for the calculations to come in. Alright, and then we'll match the rest up with our flight plan here. So we have 0.6, 0.7, and 1. 0.6, 0.7, and 1. It leaves us with 6 minutes of fuel left on top of all that, which is not much, but again, not expecting to need the alternate because we're expecting pretty good weather generally. So that is good. And then finally, performance. So I did not do it in advance this time, but I do have this offline performance calculator that takes into account factors like runway length and weather in order to calculate what's called a flex takeoff, which effectively allows you to take off at lower than full thrust, which saves on maintenance for the engines. And this is why airlines do this. They just calculate the the optimum characteristics for takeoff to just save money on maintenance. It's a pretty cool thing. So we are runway 35 tonight, and that is on a bearing of 351. The elevation of the airport is, call it like 293 or so. The length of the runway in meters is 4267, nice and long. We'll say there's no slope there. Wind is very calm, 1 at 0, I'll say. Outside air temperature is relatively warm, so 16 degrees. That will have an impact. QNH 1012. Runway conditions are dry. Takeoff weight is 64 tons. We'll do a configuration 1 takeoff. We'll turn off the packs, and we won't need anti-ice. We'll just hop over to fuel prediction to get our center of gravity, 24.5 for our trim setting. Back to performance page. Okay, so we're looking at a flex of 67 degrees. That's the most important number there. We're going to be doing configuration flaps 1 takeoff with a trim of 0.9 up. Oh, actually, I did that backwards. I think you do up 0.9. That's the syntax. Transition altitude 6,000, that's fine. And thrust reduction, acceleration, and engine out. Acceleration altitude, those all look fine for defaults given our relatively low altitude. V speeds will be incorrect as calculated here, so I'm going to replace these with the flex figure. So we have 149 for V1, 150 is our rotation speed, and 151 is our single engine V2. That looks good. So let's go to the next phase. For climb, we're going to pre-select a speed of 205 knots, which is the speed restriction shown here. So now that will be adhered to. And the box is done. Alright, so let's just check our standard operating procedures to see if there's anything else we need to do before we get pushback going. So let's finish actually our emergency briefs. So if there's any issues on the way to the runway, we'll bring the airplane to a complete stop. We'll clear any ECAM messages and inform ATC of every issue, although ATC is not online tonight. So at that point, we'll just make a decision whether the issue warrants coming back to the gate or if we can continue as planned. If there is a failure on takeoff before 100 knots or V1, we will call out the malfunction and I will call stop or go. If I call stop, I'll apply the rejected takeoff procedure and bring the airplane to a complete stop. I will set the parking brake and call attention crew at station, and I will monitor a reverse green and decel and silence any oral warnings and inform ATC of the issue, and then we'll carry out ECAM actions. If evacuation is required, we'll carry out the emergency evacuation checklist. If able, we'll make a call to return to the gate or attempt another takeoff. If there's a failure after V1, we will continue with the takeoff as planned. There'll be no further action before 400 feet AGL except to silence any oral warnings and to bring the gear up. After reaching 400 feet AGL, we'll take ECAM actions. For engine failure, damage, or fire, when engine is secured, I'll stop ECAM, level off, accelerate, and clean up. If engine is not secured, we'll continue climbing until the engine is secured, but not above the engine out maximum acceleration altitude, which is 1,500 feet. At green dot, we'll set open climb and select MTT on the throttle. Resume ECAM, complete after takeoff checklist and check the status. And then we'll fly either the engine out routing, SID, radar vectors, or immediate turn back. We'll actually fly the misapproach procedure, go to the hold point, and then make a decision whether to come back or to continue as filed. So definitely looking to improve my emergency briefing. There are probably definitely things I can improve. There's probably things I'm getting wrong. So if you heard that and you thought it was total BS, please leave your thoughts in the comments. Sweet. All right, so let's get the tug attached.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by.
You know, all those services cleared. And we'll get the fuel pumps on.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft. Standing by for pushback.
Alright, we'll wait for that door to close. Once that's confirmed, we'll do our before start checklist. Alright, great. Before start checklist down the line. Cockpit prep is complete. Gear pins and covers are removed. Signs are on and auto. We will actually get the beacon on at this point. Aiders are set to nav. Fuel quantity is known. Takeoff data is set. Bower ref is set. So let's go ahead and make our radio call on Unicom. First, let's confirm that there's still no ATC. Normally we would get a message, but there is no ATC. Great. So we'll make the call and notify of pushback. Mandalay traffic, Bangkok Air 9084 at Mandalay International Airport at stand, ready for push and start. Okay, so we'll do the before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors are closed, beacon is on, thrust levers are idle, parking brake is as required. Before start checklist complete. So let's go ahead and let them know we're ready for pushback and start.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brakes set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Alright, release the parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Start the clock.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Alright, turn on the chrono, set engine to ignition and engine to start. Sun is trying to get out there. Oh, pretty happy with that pushback. Engine 1 start.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brakes set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Down we go.
Ground. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Alright, and there goes the tug. We'll wait for a second good engine start. And one is coming up. And we have 2 good engine starts. So we'll set engine mode back to normal. Get APU bleed off. And shut off the APU because we're now running on engine power. Also at this point arm the ground spoilers. Rudder trim set to 0. We'll set flaps to takeoff position, flaps 1. And pitch trim. We calculated that was going to be where am I looking at? Flight controls. That was going to be set to up 0.9. So that is set for takeoff. We'll also shut the door at this point. We probably should have done that before, but no problem. We are locked in. While I'm here, I'll do a quick flight control test. So full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral. We'll disconnect the rudders from the nose wheel and we'll do rudder left, rudder right, and neutral. And flight controls are checked. So after start checklist, anti-ice as required. We don't need it today. ECAM status is checked. Pitch trim is set to up 0.9. Rudder trim is 0. After start checklist completes. So let's prepare ourselves for taxi. So we'll want to get those taxi lights on. And we check flight controls. Brake pressure looks good. We'll do a quick check left, check right. This airport is so busy. Disengage, parking brake, and beginner taxi. Oh, what is happening there? Hold on. Flight controls are getting a little weird on me here. One second. That was really strange. My rudders were all over the place. Okay. What happened to my A320 profile? Alright, well, let's just make sure this looks good. I mean, we want 0 sensitivity, honestly, and no dead zones on the brakes. Apologies, everyone. But it looks like my profiles were reset somehow. But, we'll reduce that dead zone a bit. I don't think we need that aggressive of a dead zone. And no sensitivity at all. Just a nice linear control. I know it's just 1%, but I mean, come on. Go through all this trouble to set the settings for a reason. Alright. Done. I'll call this the A321. Apply and save, and everyone can just pretend that didn't happen. Let's see if that fixed things here. Look at our nose wheel outside. Yeah, it's still real stuck to. Apologies. One second here. There might be an issue with my Thrustmaster. So I have the Thrustmaster here, which I use for the tiller control. So the water rudder. Oh, that's not right. Look at that. So actually this might be an issue with the joystick, unfortunately. I could try to unplug it, plug it back in. Oh, there we go. That seemed to do it. Apologies for the diversion, everyone, but that's coming back to neutral. Alright, and we have control of our plane again. Great. Alright, so as we're rolling, we'll get our emergency, our auto brake set to max. We'll get our weather system online, and we'll turn ATC to standby. So to elaborate on these rudder controls a bit, so there is a separate nose wheel control here to the left of the stick, which allows you to deflect the nose wheel pretty significantly. I don't know the exact angle, but it's almost 90 degrees each side. It's not completely 90 degrees, but it allows you to do pretty aggressive turns like this. You can still use the rudders to control the nose wheel, but only has about a 6-degree deflection. So the rudders become really good for fine-tuning your nose wheel direction. So on straightaways like this, like I'm using the rudders right now to keep ourselves on center line because I have really fine control. But to perform these aggressive turns, I am using the tiller via a second joystick. Oh, and there goes the joystick again. So Thrustmaster makes decent products, but they do feel cheaply built. They sometimes do weird things like that. Alright, so let's look at our taxiways here just to confirm we know where we're going. Yeah, we're going to taxi in alpha basically all the way to the end to maximize our takeoff roll. Do 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 do. I had Chinese food tonight, so I'm very thirsty. Let's see, yeah, they've done a really nice job in this sim with the ground scenery. Details are pretty awesome. Oh, we are not central line. Excuse me. Get a visual on what center line looks like for my landings. Basically just to the left of that little... Oh, we're gonna hit the bus! No! No! That's a pretty cool looking bus. Haven't seen that that vehicle before. Oh no! Oh no! Ah! Yeah, I do not know the logic behind how they programmed the ground vehicles. It's just really entertaining how, like, they always get in the way. But thankfully they were smart enough to be like, oh, if you hit one, doesn't really matter. Nothing's going to happen. You're good. Slow down for this turn. Alright. We'll hold short here and do our before takeoff checklist. So turn the strobes on at this point. Landing lights, set the nose lights to takeoff.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Takeoff config, ecam memo no blue. Turn TCAS on. Transponder on. And that all looks good, so let's do the before takeoff checklist. Takeoff runway confirmed, 35. Engine mode is as required. TCAS is set, so okay, so takeoff runway is confirmed. Cabin crew is advised. TCAS is set to TARA. Engine mode selectors as required. PAX as required. We'll turn the PAX off for the flex takeoff. And before takeoff checklist below the line. Was there an above the line? Did I miss that one? Apologies. Oh yeah, flight controls checked. Flight instruments checked. Briefing is confirmed. Flap settings confirmed. V speeds are set. ACC is set. Ecam memo no blue. Okay. Now we've done both checklists. All right, let's make our radio call. Mandalay traffic, Bangkok Air 9084, taking off runway 35. Mandalay traffic. Check the approach. Use the tiller one last time. Alright. Throttle N1 to 50%. Take off. Man flex SRS. Speed selected. Knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate gear up. Autopilot engaged. Set vertical speed. That looks good. So we'll just do manage altitude then. Thrust climb. Climb. Ground spoilers off. Packs on. And nose lights off. And S speed, retract flaps. Speed checked, flaps 0. Here comes our first turn. We're at the overfly point. Beginning our turn. It's drawing a very interesting route there. Might be a fly-by-wire bug, but it still seems to be tracking appropriately. We'll see if it updates. Looks like QNH standard. That's pretty. Very cool. So let's pull up our chart. The brightness way up because it's very bright all of a sudden. So yes, we're going to be at 10,000 feet by Sithu and then 18,000 by Dagib. So we've got some time. Alt star. And at this point we can get back to a managed speed. Now we've completed that dog leg. Alright, continuing along the SID, enjoying these gorgeous clouds. See if we can spot any of those cumulonimbuses. They're supposed to be in the area. – 10,000 feet, we'll do our 10,000 feet checks as we fly. For that, we haven't actually done our after takeoff checklist. So after takeoff checklist, the landing gear is up, flaps are retracted, packs are on, barrow is set. So now let's do our 10,000 feet checks, landing lights retract. Seatbelts as required, set to airport. ECAM memo checked. Nav aids, we didn't use any. Weather system is in op. So yeah, we're good. All right, 10 miles from Sithu, and then we'll head up to 18,000. Get a good look at Burma. Here's the increase in power there. Was it the turn, maybe? I don't know. It is actually... oh, because we're right at 10,000, it's going between... wants to accelerate up, but as we toggle between 10,000, it keeps jumping back and forth. That'll fix in a moment once we get to Sithu. Head up to 18. That is stunning. It's so pretty. We're approaching Sithu. I say we start our climb now. Thrust climb, climb. Actually, we'll just do open climb. There's no restrictions. Up we go. I think. What's happening? Climb. Accelerating ever so slowly, and now the rate of climb is starting to increase, and power is increasing. Interesting. Yeah, I was really getting confused there because we were hanging right at 10,000. So now that we're on our way to 25,000, let's just mark now our next step climb point. Because remember, we're not going to stay at 25,000. No. It looks like a beginning at Lima Kilo is our next climb up to 319er. Yeah, so there's a few ways we could potentially do that. I think if we did a managed climb, we could put the altitudes in. That would just take too long. I think I'll just do it manually by... Let's see, how do we want to do this? I guess we can use the progress page. Lima Kilo. 100 miles. Yeah, so we'll watch that. We'll watch that. As we're climbing, let's get a sense of when we'll arrive. So this is going to change as we increase speed, as we ascend, after we program the arrival. But saying 9 past 4, that's over an hour and a half from now. That's going to come down considerably is my expectation. So we'll check again when we're closer to cruise. But yeah, just trying to figure out how much time we'll have to chat Encanto as we get up there. Getting a pretty direct crosswind, probably responsible for some of these bumps. Speed alt star. 18,000. Hold on. Oh right, because we're on our way to Dagup still. We're not up. We're not going to. Once we hit Dagup, then we go up to 25,000. And it seems bumpy here. It does. Keep those seatbelt signs on for now. The shear rates are pretty modest throughout. So hopefully that'll clear up once we get a bit higher. There's Dagup. About 18 miles. Dog-legged Doggip. These then will be turning away from the wind and get a nice boost in ground speed, although they'll probably slow down our ascent rate, but no problem. The sun is like right, oh no, the sun's up there. Okay, I was worried it was going to be in our face the entire flight. It is high enough in the sky. I'm doing this from 9:30 p.m. East Coast time in the United States, and here, what are we, +6 Zulu? Almost 7, +6.5 Zulu. I guess that's what, 8:30? Or maybe just about 9 o'clock local time? So bad at this. Alright, there's the turn. Let's climb up to 250. Open climb, thrust climb. Clouds are amazing and all, but the pop in and pop out can be a little immersion shattering at times. Alright, so let's look. We can get to Lima Kilo in about 90 miles. So it gives us what, like 10 minutes? So we can probably start chatting Bruno at this point. So a couple of weeks ago, my kids discovered Encanto. We actually sat down to watch it. It was actually the first kind of like family movie night we'd ever done. My kids are 5 and 2. And they've watched TV, they've seen movies before, but like usually, we're doing other things, or we're working, or we're busy. We rarely have an opportunity just to kind of sit with them and watch. But we did like an intentional movie night. It was really awesome. It was a lot of fun. The kids really enjoyed it. I was kind of half paying attention. I didn't know what Encanto was about. I really wasn't in the mood to watch. I was just kind of there to be with my kids. So I was just kind of enjoying their company and relaxing, not really paying attention. And it seemed good. Like the music seemed fine. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is no Moana, which I thought was awesome. It was good, like solid. And then I think maybe a few weeks go by, and I gave it another shot and really watched it this time. Like really kind of gave it an intentional watch again with the kids, and something about it just like grabbed me. Just grabbed me. Like the songs I thought were just mediocre before suddenly sounded a lot better, a lot more clever. Like I was paying attention to the lyrics and how the musical styles were interweaving with each other, and the story, and just like how heartwarming it is, and how family-centric the film is, and I was hooked, and it started like deepening from that point on. Like of course the kids at that point wanted to listen to the soundtrack and were playing the music all the time. But the more I heard the songs, the more I thought about the story, just the more enamored I became with this film. There's so many things I could talk about. I'm just kind of giving kind of the broad overview of my relationship with it. But now it's like, actually, I'll tell this story real quick. So we watched it again at my sister-in-law's house over the weekend. And since then, the kids learned that they could actually listen to the music whenever they wanted to. So we started playing it on our devices. pretty much all the time, kind of on repeat. And they dance to it, and they just play to it, and they smile to it. And it got to the point, like, we were getting the kids ready for school earlier this week in the morning, and they were listening to it during breakfast. And then we got into the car, and now usually when I drop them off, I like to listen to the New York Times, The Daily, on the way to and from school. I kind of subject my kids to it as like my one indulgence, because otherwise it's whatever they want to listen to. But in the car, it's like Daddy's time. And then they asked, like, "Hey, Daddy, can we listen to Encanto in the car?" I'm like, "No, well, you listen to it all morning. Let's take a break. You can listen to it when you get home from school." Turn on the radio. Turn on Z100, which is the radio station locally here in the New York area, and they were interviewing Lin-Manuel Miranda, who, if you didn't already know, is the composer of Encanto. He wrote like 9 of the songs or something like that. And they were asking him about the process, about behind the scenes, the themes of the movie and why it's doing so well. And then, of course, when the interview was done, they played the hot song of the moment, We Don't Talk About Bruno. So even still, trying to take a break from it, trying to get my daddy time, we ended up listening to Encanto on the way to school, kind of against my will. Anyway, it's everywhere at the moment. In fact, I believe it's on, I think that song is number 1 on the US charts on Spotify right now, which is crazy. But yeah, okay, let's take a bit of a deeper dive on why I think this movie is so amazing. But before we do that, just a quick check. We're at flight level 250. So I'm still a little bumpy out there. But we are direct to Lima Kilo. Ooh, jeez. God, man. Is that for real? I'm still convinced that live weather doesn't work properly. I'm convinced of it. Just watching what happens if we dip slightly below 25,000. Will it go nuts? Alright, it looks like, I think we've stabilized. It's on a very slight bank. Very slight bank. Alright, kind of slowly straightening out there. Okay, I think we're fine. Alright. And let's just, before I continue on this rant, let's just confirm we're flying up to 319er once we hit Lima Kilo. Yeah, so this film. What is this film about? This film takes place in Colombia. It's about the Madrigal family. And this family's matriarch came to this valley a long time ago with her 3 children, and they were bestowed with this miracle, this gift, that gave all of the children powers. So the one daughter had the power to heal through food, so she would cook delicious Colombian meals, and they would heal ailments, broken bones, wounds, sickness. The other was bestowed with the ability to control the weather. And the third one, Bruno, was gifted with the ability to see through the future. The story takes place when those children are adults. They're married, they have kids that are coming of age as well, and all the kids also have different magical powers. When they came of age, they were gifted their own miracles. So one was gifted with super strength, Luisa. Isabella was gifted the ability to create flowers, and she's like the perfect pretty one, like the stereotypical Disney princess, which they made fun of endlessly, which I thought was very clever. And then their cousins also had powers. So one was able to shapeshift, and this other character, Dolores, was able to kind of hear anything from anywhere, just like superpowered hearing. And then the youngest one was getting his gift that day. But the main character, Mirabelle, she was given a gift, and we don't really know why. but she discovers that there's something wrong with the magic. The magic is escaping or breaking down. And despite her pleas, the family's not really listening to her. In fact, like from their perspective, she's just kind of getting in the way, and there's like this sense that she's overcompensating for the fact that she doesn't have a special gift. But eventually, she comes across a vision from her uncle Bruno, who could see the future, who had since disappeared and has kind of gone away. And you know, the whole idea, like, we don't talk about Bruno. It's just all about like Bruno would say these prophecies that he would predict the future, and they would typically be bad things that happened, and it's this whole negative connotation around Bruno. Anyway, she discovers one of his visions, and it's implied that Mirabelle is actually responsible for the magic going away. So she loves her family. She would do anything for her family, and she takes it upon herself to save the magic, and that is basically the premise of the film. Yeah, so where to go next? So let's talk about Bruno for a second. So Bruno is played by John Leguizamo, who's an absolutely awesome actor. He killed this role, honestly. You'd recognize that he's John Leguizamo, but he gives Bruno such a kind of like unique personality. Very quirky. But the song is hilarious because like the opening lines are, we don't talk about Bruno, and then right before the first verse kicks in they say but, and then they launch into a whole story about Bruno. So it's kind of like playing on this like family trope that, you know, families have their secrets or their taboo topics that you never talk about or you're not supposed to talk about, but in reality it's what everyone talks about. And that's exactly what that song is all about. So kind of like listening to the lyrics and hearing everyone talking about Bruno in discrete detail, but then the chorus line is, we don't talk about him. Nope, we don't talk about this, but I'm going to tell you everything on my mind about Bruno. And what makes it even better, like beyond just that fun theme, the rhythms and beats of the music itself has all been inspired by Colombian music. But in true Lin-Manuel fashion, if you listen to each verse, you listen to each character and how they sing it, they're all singing over the same chord progression. But they're all singing it with their own rhythms, their own melodies, their own styles. So I think there are 4 characters that sing their stories, if I'm not mistaken, that they all sound distinct, even though the chord progression is constant the entire way through. Which is just like really clever songwriting, and he did something similar in Hamilton with the way he used rap, and how each character kind of rapped in their own distinct style from different eras of rap. So I think it was the character that played Thomas Jefferson, who had been away in Europe and then came back, there is a song where he's like, what did I miss, right? Because he's kind of like catching up on what he's missed since he was gone. And the style of rap that he leverages is like older, like maybe like 80s or 90s style rap, like it's stuck in the past. Like that was the way that it was done when he left the colonies. And therefore that's the way he was doing it when he came back, but everyone else had moved on and they were singing kind of like more modern versions of rap. Again, just super clever way to continue telling a story even just through the music itself. So that's really kind of like combined. Like there are other parts about that song that are really special, but I think those 2 elements, at least for me, it's kind of like why it's been kind of stuck in my head and why I've slowly become obsessed with it. Alright, let's take a break. Still pretty bumpy, it seems. We're about to hit Lima Kilo. So let's prepare to continue our ascent to 319er. Again, turn, and up we go. Thrust climb, open climb. This is just a really beautiful part of the world, huh? photos, huh? I think this livery is just awesome. Oh wow, even underneath. Check that out. That's super cool. It's like coral. Let's see. Let's see. Let me get a. I'm gonna get like a pretty cool banner. Do it from the other side. Stay still. So bumpy. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's take a look inside. That was a lot of... That was very stressful to manage. Let's see. Which of these do I like? It's just these. These are the 4 interior ones. Oh, there's this one too, which is pretty nice. Just the lighting gets weird. Alright, well, anyway. Ah, uh-oh. There we go. And we're back. Oh, approaching MHS. We should be going higher. Ah, no! 365. Not too late. And up we go. First climb, open climb. Hopefully the chop reduces as we keep going up. So after Bokib, then we go to 385 and then 390. Ooh, wow. Clouds in those valleys are pretty cool. So I just want to check the Navigraph map. Let's see where we are. I want to know, okay, we're approaching Chiang Mai. At the river, okay, so I want to take a look at how that looks from the sky. That's pretty cool. And let's do a check-in on time of arrival. See, that did come down pretty significantly. And right now, what is it? It's just 3 UTC. So yeah, 45 minutes we'll be back on the ground. So that means in about 5 minutes we'll start our descent brief. Which is exciting. No clouds allowed in the sky. If you saw Encanto, you get that reference. Seems appropriate for right now. Oh, there are clouds back there. Forget that. Clouds are allowed back there. Alright. Ah, never noticed this. There's a lumbar sign here. It's upside down. I also appreciate that there are like these setting markers for the chairs. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but that's just to provide consistency for pilots plane to planes, because they probably learn to fly by feel quite a bit, and like where the stick is relative to their body, where the pedals are. That's pretty cool. Really nice details. This mod keeps getting better all the time. Alright, we're approaching Bokib. I want to go to 385 next. We'll just pump it in now. Press climb, open climb. Then we know from there we're going to 390. So, how far away should that be? This hit Bokib goes 13 miles, so we are like 38 miles from top of climb. And that feels like a good time to start prepping the descent. So, we'll do the next step climb, and then we'll start figuring out how we're going to get back down. See if we can see Chiang Mai from here. Kind of looks like there's a river valley down here. So I'm guessing that's the Chiang Mai area. Alright, so we're going to be a bit under by the time we get to Viz, so we'll just go ahead and clear ourselves totally to 390. It's like so close, top climb. Just get there. You can do it. You're so close. There comes Chiang Mai, 15 miles. Get a better shot of it now. Oh yeah, that is it. That's definitely it. Look at that. Super cool. Oh, there's an airport down there. Awesome, they can make out those details. Oh, here the engine's pulling back. That's because Mach alts. Top of climb. We'll just assume, yeah, safe to take the seatbelts off. Or we've done it earlier, but it just seemed too bumpy. Alright, let's see. Let's check out Chiang Mai. Seems to be a literal square over there. Kind of this like circular avenue. Have a main thoroughfare here. So maybe a highway leading out of the city. And of course, all the developments would have like along the river. Super cool. Oh my god, that's a golf course. There is a golf course in Chiang Mai. There's several golf courses. Huh. Alright, I'll have to read about this, but actually first, we're within 40 minutes of arrival, so let's go ahead and brief our arrival. So let's get our charts together here. First, let's figure out top of descent. Which is going to come, well, let's calculate it. So we're at 39,000 feet. Let's look at the star we're going to fly. Norta 3 Charlie. Norta 3 Charlie. Oh, Jesus. So I guess Sembo. Okay, there we go, via Sembo. And there's a speed restriction right at Norta, which we'll be aware of, and 18,000 is the first altitude restriction. So when do we want to start descent? 66 miles, let's call it 70 miles from Norta. So let's get that into the box. So I've got a flight plan where we are already. Go to fixes. Type in November, Oscar, Romeo, Tango, Alpha. This Norta, 250 miles away. And what we say, 70 miles? Do a 70 mile radius. Because that will draw a circle on our navigation display. Boom. That is the marker for our top of descent. Brilliant. Brilliant. Alright, it's a nice little trick. Alright, so that is done. That's back. Let's continue briefing the descent. So, Sembo to Norta, and then down to 16,000. Further speed restriction ahead of 11,000. And we want to slow down further. Looks to be probably just above green dot speed at 9,000. And then we go to Waltz. Interesting. And then I'm assuming it's vectors to final, usually. Okay. See if there's any other information here that we should be aware of. I think that's fine. Let's look at our runway chart. So, runway 19 left. Definitely doing the ILS. Question is which one? Let's see. What's the difference? What's the difference between these ILSs? So that's one. That's two. This is like the circle approach. This is straight in. So we'll do the Zulu. We'll do the Zulu. We want to be at 3,500, then down to 2,500, and intercept the fix at 2,000. See, Cat C, ILS. We do Cat 2. RVR is very short. So is the minimum. That's nice. That is nice. That we don't need to worry about weather here for the precision approach. Okay. And get our taxi charts here. Oh, there's so many airport charts. Jesus. Alright, airport info. Coming in 19 left. I am guessing decently long runway. So let's assume we'll get off at Bravo 10. Maybe Bravo 11, but probably Bravo 10, if not Bravo 8, I guess. And then we'll probably take a Bravo all the way to Concourse. So this is the main terminal, and it looks like the detail 29C. 29C for the main apron. Alright, so we kind of have our choice. So we'll go to Bravo, I guess, Bravo Golf. Is transfer luggage? No, we're not doing transfer luggage. Let's take a look at the scenery. I don't think it's, I think it's a procedural airport as well. But let's plan a park like in the Echoes, so maybe like Echo 5. So Golf to Hotel 2, Tango 11 to Echo 5. Cool. Cool. Let's clean up our charts. Let's get rid of these. Bye-bye. Okay. So we'll keep this up because now we should get our weather and program the box. So minimize that. Head to the box. Let's do a weather request. We'll do it the fun way. It won't be an ATIS because there's no air traffic control online. So weather request. Yeah, we'll just get all three airports. Why not? Alright, so request sent. We'll wait for the notification. Company message. That was fast. That was fast. VTAR. There it is. Let's print it. Boom. Boom. Alright, and performance. Approach. So we're looking at Victor Tango Bravo Sierra, QNH 1012. Temperatures 29 degrees. That's hot. Hot. Winds variable at 2 knots, so 0/2. Will it accept VRB? Let's try it. VRB/2. Will it do it? No, format error. I'm guessing just doing 0, 2 is enough. Barrow minimums, which, so they're actually not, but we haven't programmed the approach in yet, so of course it's not going to let us do radio minimums because we don't have the ILS in yet. So Victor Tango Bravo Sierra, arrival, ILS, was it 19? What did we say? Oh, Zulu. 19 left. Is that right? Yeah, Zulu. So a 19 left Zulu. And we're doing the Norta 3 Charlie. We're not doing via Limos. So let's see, when they say Limos, what are they talking about? Oh, no via. But transition. Sembo. Oh, I guess, you know what, we would do Limos. Hold on. I always got them mixed up, apologies. Victor 19 left Zulu. The Norta 3 Charlie. Limos and Sembo. Insert. Alright, let's confirm that looks fine. So, start with Sembo to Norta, to Bravo Sierra 512, to Irtis, to Bravo Sierra 508, to Bravo Sierra 506, Bravo Sierra 504, Bravo Sierra 502, to Waltz, and then a discontinuity, which makes sense. We'll probably vector ourselves, and then head to Limos, because now we'll be on the final approach. Limos, Lindsay, Lanco, Bravo Sierra 599, and down onto the runway. Fantastic. I'm very happy with that. Really love when the navigation systems work the way that they should. Okay, now back to the box, because we're not done there. Go back to performance, and we go to approach. Now we have radio minimums, because we have the we have programmed in transition level 13,000. That's correct. Level is for lower, altitude is for higher, and now our radio minimums is 100 feet above the ground, nice and low. Cool. And just review the weather again. So 7,000 visibility, few clouds of 1,400. Hot. Great. We're good. We're good friends. And for this, we'll just put in now Victor Tango Bravo Sierra 19 left. Does that take? Yes. Great. We're 238 miles from the runway. And there is our top descent, cresting at about 100 miles directly in front of us. Plans are coming together. So here's a quick test. I think what our initial descent is going to be to 18,000. So let's get that on. I'll see if it retains it. If I just program it in now, if it just sits there until I'm ready to activate. So, now we got some time. I could talk about Encanto more. No, I can. There's plenty to say. Like, for one, my eldest son or his favorite character is Isabella. Kind of shocking. He went for like the super pretty one. Me, I think my favorite character, I mean, I think Bruno's fantastic. Big fan of Dolores. I think she is hilarious. Hilarious. You know, I haven't checked. I haven't checked VATSIM. Oh, ho. Ground is online at Victor Tango Bravo Sierra. That's unexpected. So let's get that frequency tuned in on standby so we can switch over to it when we land, because they'll direct us to a gate. So, let's see, is there anyone else? Yeah, there are 5 flights inbound to Victor Tango Bravo Sierra right now, including us. So we might, without a controller online, I mean, are we... Well, it kind of looks like we're going to be next to land, actually. And no one's currently on the ground at Bangkok. But yeah, we'll see if they're still there when we arrive. But nice, we'll get some VATSIM coverage. Does that mean they have ATIS? The ATIS isn't showing up. Yeah, so nothing's in range, which is fine. But if I do an ATIS request, will I get it? Yep, arrival. Okay, that looks good. Let's see. And just want to check my settings to see that it's all coming from VATSIM. Okay. Let's see. Company message. Not available. Okay. Yeah, it didn't seem like he published an ATIS. Looks like he's just doing ground control. Yeah, guess this person's available on a Friday morning to do some ground control. It's unclear what I refer to him as. But we'll worry about that once we get in range. See how we're doing on time. Alright, because we've programmed in the approach a bit later now, 53 past the hour. It's chilly in my basement. Topic descent coming quick. 25 miles. And we are 76 miles from Sembo, which is our initial waypoint on our star down into Bangkok. Actually, one thing we didn't do is rad navs. There's no obvious one here. On the ILS though. Just the ILS. Oh well, there is SVB, so let's program that in. That's always good. SVB, Sierra Victor Bravo, VOR, and on. Alright, not quite in range, but it's there. Check. Yep, still only Unicom. Just about 15 miles now from top of descent. Alright, getting real close now. Kind of reminds me of that scene from Independence Day. It's like the jets on the radar, like we're approaching the shield wall, the alien vessels, and then when the missiles hit, they just disappeared. Five miles. Checking descent. Auto brake. Set to low. These are the rest of the descent checks as we start our way down. And down we go. Thrust idle, open descent. So check the weather, confirm landing performance, set auto brake, set the flight plan, rad navs, performance, progress. Oh, I didn't check fuel prediction. We may not have fuel prediction now because thrust is set to idle. So that's why we do it before descent. No worries. Secondary flight plan is in-op. We cleared altitude ourselves. Oh, TCAS set to below. Boom. I don't think there's going to be traffic in our way, so I still don't think we'll be able to actually check TCAS. But next descent checks will be at 10,000 feet. So let's talk about the transition here between, so here, waltz, and then right base turn to final Limos. We'll start configuring, I think, right at waltz. So we'll get to green dot speed, go to flaps 1, execute the turn, flaps 2, and then we'll aim to be fully configured by Limos, which will give us, yeah, I mean that's just about 20 miles away. Okay. Down we go. We'll get to Sembo in about 5 minutes. See how we're doing. We've been in the air for 1 hour and 8 minutes, and the block time estimate is 1.36, 1.5. We pushed back an hour 23 ago. Let's see if we're actually on time. That would be 2:12. Actually, yeah, I think we pushed back right on time. Our departure time is estimated 2:15. We're estimated to arrive at 15 past 4. So yeah, we'll definitely get in early. It's always nice. There's our approach course. Start looking ahead. Oh, there we are. We are on the chart. Nice. Should be following that river to our left, and yeah, there we are. There it is. So cool. Let's see, we're losing 2,500 feet a minute. Yeah, we should get to the first altitude restriction with plenty of time. We also need a little bit of extra time to start slowing down. So the navigation display is showing this vector here kind of going infinitely. This is where the flight discontinuity is, but on the chart that's also where we would expect vectors to final. So again, we're just going to kind of vector ourselves. We're going to kind of do a right base to final turn once we pass that final marker. This upper line is our ILS approach. All right, Norta at 3 in about 4 minutes. Yeah, plenty of time. So when we get to 18,000, we will set speed to call it 270 knots. Don't want to push the max. We would normally get a speed from ATC anyway. There's still ground control at Bangkok, but no one else yet. And there's no one at the airport, so the controller's he's online, but just kind of sitting there, I guess. Hopefully he doesn't get freaked out when we call him on the radio when we land. Alright, so now we're officially on the star. There we are, flying towards Norta. And speed, alt star. Oh, we're already at 280. Is that because, are we following the constraints? Let's see. We are indeed. Look at that. Look at that. We do manage altitude as well, but since it's not programmed every step of the way, it just makes it harder to manage. Probably the same with managed speed. We'll see what happens at Bravo Sierra 512. We may want to do, we want to manually manage that anyway. But now that we're at this altitude, let's just make a mental note of where we're descending to next. Next restriction is 11,000. Oh, sorry, 16,000. So let's get that on the autopilot. Get that ready. And you know what? I'm actually going to manual speed. Just slow us down a little bit more. Give us a little bit more time to get down to 16. Here comes Norta. Quick peek out the window. Really smooth. Nice 50 frames per second up here. Ultra settings. Alright, down we go. Alright, when we get to flight level 160, we'll slow down to 240 knots. And then continue our descent to 11,000. Speed alt star. Mile out. Let's reduce that speed now to 240. And once we get there, we'll go down to 11,000. And then once we get to 11,000, we'll slow to maybe. What should we do there? I mean, green dot is just like 208. It looks like. We'll slow down to 215. Let's get a bit tighter there. Below transition altitude. (1012) local QNH. According to, yes, 1012. Make sure it's still current. 1012. Nice. Speed alt star. At this point, we'll slow down to 215. Right above blue dot, green dot speed. Alt. And then we'll head down to 9,000, which I think is the next step. Once we get down to our new speed. Continue descending, 9,000. At this point, we'll do our 10,000 feet checks to get that out of the way. So 10,000 feet, landing lights set. Seatbelts are on. Landing system we'll need for the ILS. Rad nav selected and identified. Engine mode is required. ECAM status checked. QNH is set, so let's do the approach checklist. Briefing confirmed. ECAM status is checked. Seatbelts are on. Bow ref is set. Minimums are set. Engine mode selectors as required is set to normal. Approach checklist complete. Oh, super cool. I don't know what that is, but that's super cool. Like some kind of palace or plaza. Let's see. Alright, things are going to get a bit busy in a second, so let's just make sure we know what we're doing. After 9,000, we're going down to 6,000. And at 6,000, we'll activate the approach. We'll turn base on our way down to 3,500. So 6,000 will be next. Be able to see the airport from here because the cloud cover, but it's there. Turning and down we go, 6,000. Alright, so we're about 20 miles from the airport. Alright, we're turning effectively onto our downwind. Speed Alt Star. Alt. Be our next altitude down there. Be 3,500. And let's see. Let's go ahead and activate the approach. So start, go back to manage speed, start decelerating to green dot. And speed checked, flaps 1. And we'll go into heading mode 15, and we'll right turn heading 105. There we go. And speed checked, flaps 2. And at this point, we'll arm approach. I guess we can't in heading mode. Oh, and we're too high. Ah! Let's go ahead and turn to 195 at this point. Then we'll go back to manage heading. And we'll do manage heading. And at this point, we can arm the approach. Autopilot 2. Cat 1, autopilot 1 plus 2. Lokestar. Cat 3 single, Cat 3 dual. Lots of turning there. Apologies, passengers. Alright, at this point, go ahead and drop the gear. Auto brake confirmed. Ground spoilers armed. Lokestar. Just confirmed we'll want to be at 3,500 Lindsay. 5,000 at Limos, so we're fine to intercept at Lindsay. Speed Alt Star. Alt, Glide slope is armed. Glide slope is above us. Got a ways to go. Won't fully configure. I didn't realize it would actually have this much time. We're well in advance of where we need to be in terms of configuration. We'll just enjoy flying through these clouds. I do think like 3,000 feet is probably the most beautiful of altitudes, in my opinion. Not too high that everything just seems so small, but not too close as just like flying by. Like 3,000 feet just feels like a good chill altitude. Alright, let's pay attention. Expect that glide slope to start coming in any second now. Now we have our ground frequency in for when we are on the ground, because there is, yep, there he is, the ground controller is online. I guess I refer to him as Bangkok ground. Unclear. There's 2 Bangkok airports. Ah, there comes the glide slope. We'll just wait to capture it, and then we'll descend along the rest of the way. So, this is where we are now. We just passed Lindsay. So the glide slope should catch us, and then we'll follow it all the way down. So at this point, I'll get our runway map up, because we'll need this when we're copying, taxiing, and gate instructions. Just trying to plan ahead. So we're intercepting at Landco at 3,500, which is actually, is that? No, that's not what the chart implies. But glide slope star. And glide slope. We are fully established at this point. I will continue to configure speed checked flaps 3. And flaps full. And now we're fully configured. Pretty epic cloud ahead. Can get a quick snap. And what's our missed approach altitude? 1,000. So we'll set that on our autopilot. Guess we have to go mist, although I don't think we will. Bangkok traffic, Bangkok Air 9084 on 10-mile final to Bravo Kilo Kilo, runway 19 left. Probably should have used Victor Tango Bravo Sierra, but radio altimeter's alive. Nice low visibility, although from the chart we only need, it's like a 300 RVR, 100 feet minimums. So even if we see the runway at the last second, we should still be fine, but it looks like it's clearing. I think that's the airport dead ahead, and winds are pretty calm. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful how that just cleared out. Ah yeah, runway's coming into view. That's a pretty cool over-the-shoulder view. Get more of the livery in that shot, because this livery is just stunning. All right. Enough sightseeing, time to concentrate.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto throttle is set, auto brake as required, ECAM memo no blue. Landing checklist complete. Autopilot off.
Above. Minimum.
Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. Retard.
Reverse green, decel. Knots. Now we'll roll out to the next one. Alright, not too bad. I'm not sure how I did on the landing rate there, but we'll check the data after the fact. Right now I'll just quickly do After landing checklist, and then we'll get on the radio with ground and get our taxi directions to the gate. But welcome to Bangkok, everyone. Disarmed the spoilers. Radar off. Weather system off. Engine mode selector norm. Flaps retract. TCAS to standby. ATC is required. And get the APU started. 1, 2, 3. Nose to taxi. You can turn that off because it's daytime. Landing lights are coming off. Strobes to auto. After landing checklist completes. Let's see if ground is still online. Looks like yes. Figure out where we are. And switch over frequencies. Bangkok ground, good morning. Bangkok Air 9084 at Bravo 10.
Bangkok Airways 984, Suvarnabhumi ground. Good evening, correction, good afternoon. Say your gate number.
Looking for a gate assignment if possible.
Bangkok Airways 984, how about Bravo 5?
Bravo 5, affirm.
Roger, taxi gate Bravo 5 via Bravo Charlie 4 Tango 4.
Taxi to gate Bravo 5 via Bravo Charlie 4 Tango 4. Bangkok Air 9084.
Bangkok Air 984, good day.
Alright, so we got Bravo Charlie 4 and Tango 4 to Bravo 5.
Bangkok Airways 984, high-speed taxi approved on Bravo.
High speed approved on Bravo. Bangkok Air 9084, thank you. Concourse B, I need more detail on those parking spots, so let's pull up that chart. Geez, so many charts here. Bravo 5, right there. Okay, cool. So, Bravo Charlie 4, Tango 4. Let's do this. Oh, that's pretty. That is pretty. By the way, did I sound nervous on the radio? I feel like I sounded nervous on the radio. Still freaks me out. I don't know why. Makes me worry that when I actually do flight training for real, I have to actually talk to real controllers.
All station standby, Suvarnabhumi ground, now close. Monitor Unicom, 12.8.
Okay. Going to Unicom. That was fun while it lasted. Maybe he waited for us. I'm glad I didn't disconnect. That would have been disappointing. Oh, and you know what? It is Bangkok ground. That's a cool feature too. That tells you, oh, I should be paying attention to where we're going. I think we still got time. Oh yeah, Charlie 10. Yeah, we got plenty of time. Dwelling on my radio calls. So is it Charlie 4 Tango 4? That's easy. Well, haven't had a ground controller in a long time, so that was a fun change. I think actually the last time we had a ground controller was in Delhi. You know, the further east we go, if I keep doing these evening East Coast flights, we'll start getting a lot more VATSIM coverage. It'll be a lot of fun. It was nice to have like spotty coverage at this point because it gave us plenty of opportunity to learn how to fly this thing. I see I am taking full advantage of this high-speed taxi clearance. Just flying down here. Alright, what is this? Charlie 5, so Charlie 4 should be next. Start slowing down. Don't want people to like fall out of their seats. Yeah, Charlie 4. Here we are. And let's get down below 10 knots so we can do this turn. Very nice. Oh, I'm happy with that. Those 90-degree turns are a little tricky. Let's do a quick traffic check. Man, it's so busy. And this becomes Tango 4. And then Bravo 5 will be this first gate to our left. Yep, Tango 4. Slow down, go low. Turn the lights off, we don't want to blind them even though it's daytime. And turn. Overshot slightly, but we can definitely fix that, no problem. And you want to come into these parking stands at 5 knots or less. Oop. Brakes are a little sensitive though, so. We're rolling real nicely. Just slight brake pressure. We don't want to come in too quickly. Don't want to come in too fast. Let that roll out a bit. And you know I'm going to cheat now because we don't have anyone guiding us in. Oh, but dead on center line. Look at that. Oh, yes. Alright, that, we don't want to go too deep because we don't want the jetway to hit our wing. So we'll stop right there. That's pretty good. Parking brake sets. APU's available. We'll go ahead and shut down our engines. Engine 1, engine 2. And seatbelt sign off. Now officially welcome to Bangkok. Oh man, I feel so accomplished. It's amazing what just a few VATSIM radio calls can do for your overall confidence. Let's go back to Unicom and just make a radio call for the hell of it because I'm in a good mood and why not? Bangkok traffic, Bangkok Air and 9084 on the blocks at stand Bravo 5 at Victor Tango Bravo Sierra. Bangkok traffic. How was that? That sounded more confident. All right, enough of this. Let's clean up the cockpit, secure the aircraft. Let's pull up that checklist. So brake pressure is fine. We have the parking brakes on. Anti-ice is off because we didn't need it. APU is available. External power. External power is available, so we may as well leverage it. And just for realism's sake, let's get that jetway connected. Let's get the power connected. Here it comes. I think I saw movement in the corner of my eye for the power. Engine master switch they're both off. Advise cabin crew on the PA. Exterior lights as required. We turn the beacon off because the engines are off. We keep the nav and logo lights on for now since we're still in here. And parking checklist. APU bleed is... oh, did I turn the APU off? I thought I did, but the master's still on. Oh, you know, I guess I turned that off. But APU bleed, we're in external power, so that doesn't need to be on. Engines are off, seatbelts are off, external lights are as required. Fuel pumps, those are coming off now. Parking brake as required. And we can turn our aiders off at this point. And get that APU off because we don't need it anymore. Alright, so let's take a quick look outside. Let's get baggage going. Baggage. Oh, that's a fun shot, actually. I started a new Instagram account for this streaming channel, so I am just capturing content wherever I can, shamelessly. I actually really like this photo because actually, you know, let me adjust it a bit because you get to see the taxiway signs in the background there. That's also fun. Gives you a sense of location. Nice. And let's take a quick look around our surroundings. So again, this is not a custom airport. This is procedurally generated. Bangkok Airport is actually far more stunning than this. Just looks very modern, very beautiful. I was thinking about downloading a custom scenery, but the compatibility didn't seem to be confirmed for the latest version. I think it was last updated like a year and a half ago, so I didn't want to take the risk. Usually on these trips, whenever there's free or even payware airport scenery, I tend to download it because I think it just enhances the experience, and it's fun to stream, like the gorgeous airports that people are building by themselves of their own volition. But in any case, this is still a pretty nicely generated airport. All the taxiways were correct. Always nice to see. And we'll get to visit here again on our next leg, which is going to... I'm actually not sure. Where are we going next? We are heading to Zulu Juliet Sierra Yankee Sanya Phoenix International Airport. No idea where that is. That might be an island off of China, actually. So that'll be our first time flying over water in quite a while. So that'll be fun. Hopefully we'll be able to stream that probably around the same time. Friday night is probably my next guess for the next stream. But yeah, we'll hope you join us there. Next up, we're just going to secure the aircraft, get the aircraft back to cold and dark. If you want to stick around to see that process, feel free. Otherwise, I understand if you want to go, because frankly, shutting down an airplane is not really the most exciting part of this whole process. But again, for immersion and realism, I just enjoy going through the paces. So pulling up my securing the aircraft procedures, let's get a better view of the overhead. This is insanely intimidating, by the way, the first time you see it, but like when you get the flows down, it all makes a lot more sense. It was designed this way for a reason. So oxygen crew supply is off, exterior lights, we could take that off now. Maintenance bus as required, APU bleed and master switch off, that's all off and shut down already. Emergency exit lights and signs off. External power as required, battery 1 and 2 off. We'll shut off in a second, but aiders are off, oxygen's off, APU bleeds off, emergency exit lights are off, signs are off, APU and batteries off. And that is all. And now here is where I go completely excessive. Because like everything, as I'm learning in aviation, is all about just taking the maximum amount of care of your equipment that you possibly can. And that means doing anything you can to extend the life of your equipment. So like here, just dimming the lights on these screens, reducing the amount of time that electrons are flowing through these LED panels helps extend the life of this equipment, even if it's marginal. Oh, let me go ahead and shut down the clock here. Just keep it accurate. I always clear it accidentally. Oh, that time I did it right. Perfect. But yeah, just like dimming the screens away. It helps. It reduces cost. It's like why we go through all that trouble to do flex takeoffs. Turn off the radios. Shut down the integrated lights. Alright, and ATC, we can turn that to standby now. Alright, so that is my insanity, pretty much complete. Last step here is just shut down the iPad. Boom. Alright, and now there's only one thing left to do. That is shut off, well, the remainder of the lights actually. Dim these lights too. There we go. And shut off the power. And there we are. Turn the batteries off. And we are cold and dark, my friends. This plane is completely shut down for the night. We're just going to chill here in Bangkok. Ah, yes. And of course, I love forgetting to close the cargo door before shutting down the plane. So now the baggage guy is just stuck and he doesn't know what to do. Fine, whatever. But we'll take one last look at Bangkok before we shut her down. This beautiful Bangkok Air livery that I found just a few hours ago. And yeah, bid you all a good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Keep simming. We'll see you next time. This is Mike November Whiskey signing off.